All right, so we're going to look at finding the greatest common factor for terms because it's going to help us with some factoring here in the future. So the first thing we're going to do is look at 21x squared and 28x cubed, and we're going to find the greatest common factor. Now, there's multiple ways of doing this, and sometimes depending on how good at with numbers you are, you can just look at it and figure it out pretty quickly. However, in the case that we need to break it down, we're going to start there, and then you may be able to see some patterns. So the first thing I do is I look at 21. I break it down to numbers that multiply to it. So that is, for example, 3 times 7, and x squared, which is just simply x times x. And then I look at 28. 28 is simply 4 times 7, and x times x times x. Now, in this problem, some people might also want to say, well, I know 4 breaks down to 2 times 2. So I could rewrite it as 2 times 7, x times x times x. Now, what I'm going to look for are what they have in common. In common is what we are looking for. So you'll notice that both of them have a 7, and both of them have 2 x's, okay? So that means that the greatest common factor is going to be the 7 and the x times x because they have them in common, hence the common factor. And I'm going to write 7x squared. That is going to be the greatest common factor in that case. You could also look at it and you can determine it just based off of the values of 21 and 28. And then a lot of times I like to just identify, well, there's the lowest exponent on x, so it must be an x squared as well. So there's some cheats in that as well, as the more comfortable you get with this. So let's go ahead and look at 30x squared and 50x. You may see it right now, others may not. So let's go ahead and break it down. I'm going to take 30x squared and 50x. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, that is 3 times 10, then x times x. And 50 is 5 times 10 and x. And what I do is I just circle, what do they have in common? You'll notice that they have a 10 and they each have an x in common. So the GCF between these two is going to be 10x. Now, once again, I could go back there. I could say the lowest exponent on his x is 1, and they both have an x, so it would be an x. And then 30 and 50 are both divisible by 10. But there's your greatest common factor. These are the steps that you would do to find that. Hope that helps out.